Moving to Oneness. Nourishing curiosity. Embracing differences. Becoming one.
Many of you are doing beautiful work to change this world to a better. And what you need for support you is a technique and a little new perspective on how you can reach even more people in the world in a beautiful way, in a loving, gentle way, with your little touch in it. So stay tuned for a fantastic guest all the way from California. Hello, everyone. I'm Meilin Ehlke, your host of the Moving To Oneness podcast. So everyone, welcome with me, please. Jill Lublin, all the way now. Didn't you get married in Hawaii or somewhere beautiful?
I got married in California, but I went to Thailand for my honeymoon.
So you did fly to a beautiful island, and I have a few people listening in Thailand, where you celebrated yourself and your new partner and gave yourself a twist to your own life. And I think that is very beautiful and also courageous to follow your heart in any age. And I wish more people would do that and follow your footsteps, Jill. So welcome to Moving to Oneness. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. So delighted to be here.
Yeah, I know you now for a few years, and I've always got to sense how in tune you are with people. It didn't matter if it was in a larger group or just us two or two people. You have a sense to find the depths of a person and what they really should say about themselves that they're maybe not saying. So the world, this huge globe, this 7 to 8 billion people can understand that what someone is bringing to the world. And I really love that about you.
Well, thank you. You know, one thing I've always considered, honestly, is God's gift to me is the opportunity to go deep with people's message. So doing public relations is a gift to me, and then, of course, hopefully for others. But I use my, shall we say, intuitive powers, as well as just having an ability to go deeper on the message. And I love digging for the message, because the truth is you don't usually have to dig. It just, for me, it shows itself.
Yeah, you're very keen on observing people. I've learned that about you. You are very quiet. I love that, right? You observe, and then you listen, and you listen when people get nervous or not nervous, and where they get really happy and where they expand and share, and you pick that up and also tell that people. And that, I think, is really important, right? That's then the right message. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, you know, especially, I mean, being a public relations expert, I will tell you that one of the keys to really getting yourself out there is finding the right message and being willing to move and shift as your message moves and shift, to stay integrity with your message and resonant. The message that gets created has to be resonant with you. So I think all of that's important. And it's certainly a key to success for getting any project or passion or whatever you're working on in the world out there, is to find the right message. So that is where it starts.
Yeah, and I really love what you said, that we're beings that are in constant movement and shift, and we adapt to the environment, and the environment is changing, right? It is developing, and to stay in tune or in the flow with our change and growth experience, right? Because our experiences brings maybe more depth to our language or stories that we tell. The stories turn then into copy, right? If it goes out into the world, into the written, and that we can let go and say, yes, now there's something new to be written. Maybe sometimes it's a small word, and maybe it's a total shift to bring a new facet out of us, right?
I think it is many things. You know, you have to look where are you at this time? You know, kitty who wants to be heard also.
Yeah, I have one too ahead.
You know, part of it is where are you now in this moment, and how can what you're putting out in the world be heard? What will best serve? All of that is key.
Yeah. What is best served? Don't worry about your cat, Jill. So many of my listeners have heard my own cats over the years, coming in the moments, bringing their wisdom, right? So many of the listeners are star beings, and the cats are here to bring new ways of looking at things. So it's interesting, when did she voice herself and give advice, that we really look at ourselves from a different angles. Even the pupils of a cat are in a different way. So it shows, and they can see very far. And Jill, I think that is what I've learned about you, what you are also able to help. You don't look only what is needed at the moment. You also have the sense what will be needed in the future. A little bit. And I love that, because you know, you put so much energy into creating what we have done, what we desire to do, into words. For some it's easy, they write and the hand flows, some channel the writing and it flows. But for some, we're holding back, we're scared. There were experiences in life where you didn't voice yourself, you didn't voice your story. So many of us are true speakers, and were hushed or shut down when they were young. And suddenly we're now supposed to show who we are and speak about ourselves, the work we do, and the work we desire to do. And then one needs a little nudge and feel comfortable unfolding. And that's another gift I've seen. One can feel very safe unfolding with you, Jill. And for anyone out there, go to Jill and do work with her. Or if not, if you are somewhere else, or you have another person whom you can trust to fall back, and where you are not afraid to put away the layers, so you can bring out that jewel and rub it, and have someone like a beautiful PR person, you shine, rub the jewel so it can shine again.
Yes, shine you into a diamond, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Become really the star that you are and deserve to be. I do think I know that many people that I've worked with are a little afraid, or might have an imposter syndrome, or you know, maybe concerned to speak out and express fully. I do think there often has been an issue of who you are being a bit, shall we say, covered up. And I think that's somewhat normal. You know, the truth is, I think in this past few years, maybe even up to 5 years, we've been able to express more and be seen more. But I do think, as a human being, it needs to be some help given to come out, to express fully, to have your fullest self-expression be created in a way that makes sense, that has the right words in the right order. That's a biggie.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. Have the right words in the right order. Yeah. And words, Jill, what I have learned, it is so important that the vocabulary, the words we use are the ones that are fitting, that you use anyway on a regular basis in expressing yourself. I'm going to use an example. So I use nature often as a metaphor in my work, but when I speak, because beauty in nature is important, I was a landscape architect once, nature lover at heart, and very connected to them. They give me hints, they give me cues. I can go and fall back into a tree and a dream, yes. And really let go and remember so much. So then I bring that forth. But maybe you are more someone who has done a lot of work with birthing, or you're a nurse, or you're an engineer, or a painter. There's so many facets where you maybe speak about color or physics. And it's important that we use that vocabulary to express who we are. So your unique vocabulary, would you say that too, Jill?
I absolutely think it's wonderful to bring who you are in. From a media perspective, I would tell you what the media cares about is what's good for their listeners, their readers, their viewers, right? When I wrote Guerrilla Publicity, one of my books, one of the things I interviewed was I interviewed the editor of Entrepreneur magazine. And she said to me, that what she cares about is what her readers care about. So it's important that you put yourself a bit in the media's shoes. And I think sometimes people make the mistake of what I might call I sentences, or my business, or my project, whatever it is. The question is, how does it impact and influence the world so that your message can contribute, make a difference, and matter?
Oh, that's good. So in a way, learning and observing very clearly how your clients speak, or the social group, or a certain field of profession that you want to reach out. Yeah, maybe fine tune the global change, start somewhere that you have the first contact with, or or what topic you're writing about. And maybe to hone in a little bit, and then take the time to see what do they desire, and what transformation, what change you're able to support, or what you see is not functioning correctly, and that people become aware in that situation. So I love that, to first of all speak in the way of you, directly to the one person reading, right? It's a similar also in a podcast or a video. We speak to one person listening or watching a video, right? Or so, even if you're in a big audience room on stage, you speak to one person. And that is also sometimes to remember. And sometimes we talk about the whole as a group. And so the media, give us a little tip. How can you approach, or is an easy way to even get connected to media? I think it's a rather international thing around the world, that there's similar approaches of how people can feel comfortable with even approaching someone in PR or the media.
Well, the first thing is, like we've been talking about, which is so perfect, and that is that your message must be good and clear. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. So get off the perfection trap, my friends, and just let's get started, right? Taking a small baby step toward visibility. I like to think of it like visibility building activities. That will help you. One of the things I think is easier are podcasts. So I would go after podcasts first. I would do also Google Alerts is a really great thing to put in like one word. Let's say you're a leadership coach. I'll just make that up.
Yeah.
Put the word leadership into Google Alerts and watch what's happening in the world of leadership. What I love about that is it'll cue you to everything that's being said about leadership. So for instance, when I wrote The Profit of Kindness, I put in the word kindness to Google Alerts. And what was so super was that immediately I noticed that November 13th, for example, is World Kindness Day. I didn't know that before I wrote the book, right? So what's wonderful is it'll cue you to what's going on, what the holidays are, and what people are talking about in relationship to what you're an expert in. So I'd like you to tune into what are you an expert in? And that will help. And then something like Google Alerts will immediately alert you to who's talking about what in relation to that. But then let me take you, just if I may, a step further.
Please.
And that is to use everything you've got, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, for instance, I have a woman who's a business coach who has a son who's autistic. There is National Autism Month. Yeah. And so she will talk about being a mom to a son who's autistic while running a business. We'll work it through somewhere, we'll attach it or not. It doesn't really matter, because what matters is that you keep being seen and heard, right? And I think that that's what's powerful, is that you keep creating that visibility factor, or as I like to call it, the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. And that people keep tuning into you and seeing your name somehow, even if it's not always exactly related to everything you do. Keep that in mind. It's a real good tactic and secret that most people don't practice.
Oh, I love that secret. And I do also love your kindness circle that you brought in life, so people can provide support to each other. And that is such an important a movement that is happening, and you're a leader in that as well, moving people forward. Yes. Right? And so we can come together, and we all have different strengths, and just be kind, or have an open ear to lean back, to listen. People can try out and feel themselves. And I think that is so important, right? And when you're able to feel yourself, Jill, you can also write about yourself. You can, again, I'm talking about digging deeper and getting out that clarity. And I love what you said is going on to Google. I did that too in some things, because suddenly you feel connected. You see what's going on the world. Many of us are alone or in a certain community, right, where it's the same on a regular basis, and that pulls us out. It is also a stimuli, like you said. There's a kindness day, that kindness is important to people in the world. It gives a little oomph in, again, giving you a little bit more extra in putting it out and inviting people to whatever is being created, right? For you it was kindness, and a lot of people are coming and loving your kindness circle. Because it came from the heart, it came from the purity of support, and that made people sense that. And I think, Jill, I would love to hear that about in your work, if you look back, so the last few years, and what you see, what is coming in the future, is how much more are now people really listening to their heart and bringing out their pureness in their work?
So I have to tell you, so I wrote The Profit of Kindness, and during that time, I got whispered to, you should start kindness circles. And one thing I've learned is listen to the whispers before you get hit on the head with the 2x4. And so I started these wonderful kindness circles on Zoom that everyone can participate in. And
everyone go. They're cool.
And one what?
They're very beautiful to
Thanks.
join, to be in.
And we'll give you the link in just a moment, because I'd love for all of you to join us. And what we do is that we come together in the spirit of kindness, and we support each other. I usually have a wonderful 10-minute speaker, someone you might have heard of, someone you might not have, who practices kindness in the world. And then we break into 2 circles, and we actually help each other. And all of this takes only an hour, because one thing I've learned is, you want to give people ways to get things handled, including being kind, in simple, easy, and concrete ways. So I just want to invite all of you, if you'd like, please join us. It's jilllublin.com/kindness circles. It's completely free. And I'd love for you to come be with us. jilllublin.com/kindness circles.
So thank you. I'll put it in the show notes for everyone to find as well later on, and so they can join you in these circles.
Thank you. And what a great blessing it is, honestly, to come together in a spirit of community, in connection, with the commonality being that you want to be kind, period. Right. And so I create an environment, and we create an environment where we get to give to each other, to reciprocate, to connect, and to be in that vibration. It really helps. And what's super fun is, at the beginning, I've started a new thing where I have people post in the chat, what's the one thing you've done this week where you've been kind, and just let everybody see these incredible things. Very simple, by the way, simple things that people are doing to be kind. Such simple, I like to call it, to practice a conscious act of kindness every single day. Like, imagine how different and wonderful the world would be if we all, every day, not a random acts of kindness, although that's good too, but a conscious act of kindness every single day. So I'll tell you, if I get to the end of the day and I haven't done it, which is very rare, I will send a nice text. I will send a nice email. I will write a handwritten letter. Whatever it is, right? It's just, these are such simple things, and including a smile at a stranger, including just, opening the door for someone, checking on your neighbor, just easy, simple things. What's fascinating is I got to know my neighbor during the pandemic. Like, wow, what a concept, right? And now we're the best of friends. She's 82 years old. She loves to bake me things. I love to receive the baked goods. They're so yummy. I take care of her, when she needs things. I mean, we just help each other. We are neighbors in the truest sense. And what it's pointed out to me is in a way, with how much we've lost that. We all used to grow up in villages, and we had each other. And I think, in our modern society, all over the world, I might add, I mean, we've a bit lost this. Some cultures a little less than others, but I do feel that we've lost a bit of that village that we all used to have. And so I think, circles of kindness help recreate that. Our ways that we can come together, any way we can come together and help each other in whatever way we can contribute to rise each other up. That way, guess what happens? We all rise up together.
Yeah, that is so beautifully said. Such a beautiful dedication of your energy, time, and life. And it is what is so nourishing. And that was started thousands of years ago, right? That we were really, communities were pulled apart by conquer. Especially also women were pulled apart, because mostly they were healers, right? Where did it originate? There were midwives and many others. They held communities, the younger up to the elder circles. So even the topic of the circles got rather lost. And because if we're separate, singular beings, separated from each other, we're more fearful, and we are not as strong. We don't go into action as much. And you're just creating now the opposite, Jill, right? In creating a community where we can nudge slowly forward, and we get applauded or pushed by others, or things we don't see get seen. And this helps all of us rise up into our fullness. And then also, again, a courageousness, or not even such a courageousness, it's the sovereignty that we can carry, walk different in life, speak different in life. And then that's really interesting. Then we're not so afraid anymore to go out into the media because you know who you are. You got a huge backing. Many of us have a huge non-material backing of many beings, but it's so beautiful to have a community. And this is so important. It's coming now for the next 20 years, right? Even the whole cosmos is moving us in creating a collaboration, being there for each other, and to bring out to all that even the ideas you write about. So do you notice that there is more about written, or the media prefers things more about the collective or more about individualism? Where supporting a singular people? What do you notice? What is a trend at the moment? Or where do you think also is it going, so you can prepare some of the listeners wherever they put the energy, that it can seed and sprout into something?
Yeah, funny you should say seed and sprout, because I always talk about plant your publicity garden so that your publicity garden grows. And I like you to think ahead 3, 6, and 9 months even, although there are wonderful opportunities immediately. Because yes, the media, I think, is more concerned about the collective. It isn't a singular conversation. And one of the things I want to encourage all of you to do is use the word you. In other words, not I or your business or our, project. It is about you, the listener, the reader, the viewer, right? That's what I think the media cares about, is who they serve. And you, as the person approaching the media, also needs to serve their viewers, their readers, their listeners. And, I just want to say, you don't have to have a huge following. You can be one solopreneur, one person with a project that matters or some passion that's powerful. And that's what will lead. I've gotten a lot of press on not only the profit of kindness, but the kindness issue and just talking about kindness. I'm one person. Yes, I'm leading a community that now is creating hundreds of people, hopefully thousands soon.
It will.
Right? Yes, we start. But the point is, you got to take the baby steps. So take the baby steps to get in media and make some things happen for you where you are right now. That's what's key.
Right. There's never a wrong moment, because the right moment is right in the moment. And we have to live more in the moment, right? We can think a little bit of the future to gauge us. And also we can look backwards to say, that wasn't fitting, or this really enlivens me. I want to do more of that in life, in writing, in business, in your creative work, right? But to just start, you mentioned that before, and I think that is important. If we don't start, we don't know how to improve. And the natural thing is we get better anyway. Every time we do something, we have had that experience. That I love to tell. I've noticed out of my own life, the experience creates the wisdom, right? When I've done it, then I know how I react to it. I cannot imagine how I react to it until I'm doing an act. So maybe that's a little tip for you who's listening. Try it out. Maybe even writing something to someone you don't even know so well what you're doing, and let them answer it. And there are probably rather many funny, creative things people can do to get their word out. Artwork, what else? Organizing maybe a group of people to plant trees or learn about how different cultures do planting and how different ways it grows, if we're talking about a material, and then write about that and then start a movement. And that to have that maybe also in the vision that one person can start a big movement. You just saw and heard what Jill said. She started with this one idea, looking a little bit on Google, and whoops, look, now there are hundreds, and I know thousands are coming because it takes on its own momentum. If it comes again from this pure thought, and your idea, what you're bringing out into the world, is really dedicated and comes from you and not looking only at profit, it will grow. People will feel the light and the love in the energy of each single word, even if it goes to the media and maybe it's changed a little bit once it gets onto the newspaper, but people will sense it through what they mean. What do you think about that?
I think the point is that no matter where you are is perfect. Yeah. And I really want y'all to hear that. Wherever you are is perfect. And I honestly think that sometimes the thing that keeps people out or not even willing to start playing the game is maybe that perfection. I like to call it the perfection trap, that, oh, I hear, when I'm ready. Well, you're ready right now. Like there's no more perfect time than right now, wherever you are, because publicity is an evolutionary process, right? And so we keep what would I say, processing higher and higher, that you start at the place you are, you plant the seeds, or perhaps even respond to something very quickly. That's a key. That's it. And I don't want you in a way to make it any more complicated than that. I always like to simplify publicity. I'm actually known for that, making it simple and easy. And I think the point is that you get started with wherever you are right now and know that your message evolves, your publicity evolves as you evolve your project, your business. And that's wonderful. But we start when we start.
Thank you. That's very beautiful. That's something really to take in, to breathe in, that now is the time and you are a beautiful being and you can do it. There is no question there. And we know you see now two beings that always moved forward, and you're always moving forward. Sometimes we go and turn around or tumble, but it doesn't matter. We're all really fantastic stand-up dolls. I've learned that in life. And
like those
bring out your words.
You remember that weebles wobble, but they don't fall down?
Oh, yeah. There was a cartoon when I was young, the bobble dolls, like a whole family of like the mother. I can't remember the name. That doesn't matter. But so you showed everyone, Jill, thank you very much, that they have the power of words, the power of action, the power of love, and the ability to do whatever they desire, and that there is for sure someone out there who's going to listen. And maybe if it's not this one media outlet, then it's another one. Don't give up, right? And keep on going. And Jill, I will write everyone your website address, jilllublin.com, in the link. And you mentioned where people can join you in the circle, kindness circle. So what would you give the world for the little wise words of this beautiful light being that's sitting right in front of me and give them this little something to make them move and bring out their visibility through media?
Well, I would say, that I believe, and I know, having worked literally with hundreds of thousands of people, that each of you has a gift. And that is your gift of light, your gift of matter, meaning you matter, and what you are about matters, and your contribution is important. So publicity equals influence and impact, right? And it's one of those fabulous strategies to magnetize and to monetize and to multiply. I call it the 3 M's. To magnetize you, to monetize you, and to multiply you. So I really want to leave you with the fact, most importantly, that your message matters. Let's get it out there. Let's get it out there.
I love that. And you created a movement. You really created a physical movement with your words at the end. I love that you pushed energy and you're pushing everyone into the world of doing it. Thank you. Thank you. You've been a wonderful guest to the Moving to Oneness podcast, Jill. Thanks for taking your early morning to join me and everyone out in the world and giving your advice, your experience, your energy and tips. So we can be more of who we are. You out there, you can be more of who you are. And the time is now to do that. Even the cosmos is calling you to nudge yourself further and shine brighter. So everyone, enjoy your new adventures of a PR and showing yourself to the media. I'm Meilin, and I wish you the best. Bye-bye.